Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Future Hacker. I'm your host, Maria Taide, and today we're talking to Lígia Zotini. Ligia is a researcher and thinker of futures, founder of Voicers, TEDx Speaker, has a 15-year career in the technology industry and 20 years in education, and a master's in global talent management. She lived in India, working for Friends of World Women Bank, and in New York, working at IBM's headquarters in Armonk. Hi, Ligia. It's amazing to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Hi, Maria. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And I'm very excited to be able to speak all the things I love in English. It's such a long time that I don't do this kind of things. As I told you, I'm a mother, a fresh one, and I barely speak Portuguese lately.
And I was just talking to Ligia before, so we are on the same boat, right? I have a 2-year-old as well. So thank you so much for being able to find time to be with us again, right? I loved your series of episodes for the Brazilian channel with André Chaves in Portuguese. So if you happen to be listening to this episode and you are Brazilian or you speak Portuguese, make sure you listen to this one too. It's Future Hacker in the Brazilian channel, as well as all your TEDx sessions. So I feel there's so much to cover with you. But we have to begin somewhere. So let's begin by your story. How did you get where you are today?
Oh, God. That's a good one. Exactly where I am today, I think there are two main lines that cover and cross all my history a long time. So I think there is the technology passion or the technology path, and there is also the education, and it's a little bit more than just education. It's a kind of curiosity about how human things happens in the real life, material and physical world, and also in this invisible, magical, energetic world. So I think this journey started consciously when I was 15, a teenager. It was a summer, and I got my first computer, and you can imagine, back in the 90s, a computer was something different than we have today. But it was amazing. It was a portal to me. And the moment I got it, I could understand that I want to be involved with these kind of things in my future. But at the same summer, I was at my uncle's library, and literally a book fell into my hands, and the book, the cover of the book, there was a kind of ancient god, a kind of astronaut from the past, or ancient astronaut god, whatever. And that book was about a researcher that traveled all the main ancient cities, like from Egypt to whatever place they could find old civilization. He traveled and trying to explain that those gods were more than just gods, were maybe astronauts from faraway places, and with high technology too. So long story short, I developed my career, my education, my path along technology. I could travel in all the big cities in the planet where the future usually are, the big centers, the big cities. But usually the big cities in the planet, there's always this kind of ancient civilization around. So I was in maybe Mexico City, I visited the pyramids. I was in Europe, I tried to find all those stones around. And I tried to do this while I was working and on vacations, and I covered both things in my life. So today I can tell you that I practice TechnoMagic, which is the best of human history, mystery, and path with the best of technology. And it's more or less what I'm doing today at Voicers.
I love this approach, Ligia. And you know what? Listening to your story, I can see that a critical part of your journey is that, you had access to education and technology early in your life, right? So how can we make the world more inclusive and more accessible through technology and education? How can we draw this desirable future, as you say, or maybe this future is not so desirable to some people in power? You know what I mean?
I definitely know, Maria. I have a friend that once told me a sentence that in Portuguese is something like this. We need to work today for the future doesn't mean something that you need money to get access to. Concentration of future cannot be equal like a concentration of money or money concentration. So whatever I'm doing today, I really try to work for that affirmation. Doesn't come true, But there's also another sentence that say future doesn't come all together. It comes in layers and it's healthy. Imagine that we have different levels and kind of consciousness. And every time that someone is afraid of technology, at the bottom or at the end, they are not afraid of technology because the technology is neutral. You are really afraid of people behind it. So when you have this kind of process of consciousness layer, you need to implement technology in layers and time over time. So there are always the first doers, the first thinkers, the forward thinkers, the one who like to test all the beta version of technology. And usually those persons also make a good exercise of expand their vision of humanity. Two things work together and walk together. And when people are a little bit less expanded in its humanity, I think is where technology needs to be introduced in layers and in time. We already have technology to solve most of the problems of humanity. We do have technology to solve today, the way they are today, not even matured. But we don't have humanity to solve it nowadays. So imagine all the powerful we're going to have with artificial intelligence, all the immersive technology, blockchain, quantum computing, Internet of Things, all the nanotechs around us. In 20 years, they're going to be mature. We need to be as mature as those technology too. But I think your question was more connected to poverty or the environments with less capability of buying technology in the first moment. And this is the other part of the equation. You have one part of the equation is the consciousness, and the other part of the equation is we need to find ways where those part of the society can also have access, not depending on have money to it. What I could see looking to the past, to the technology we have today, mass technology, which pretty much are the smartphones, tablets, and computers. Those technology are not made, Maria, for just a couple of people. Who else or whomever are doing or making those technology. The interest is that this is a technology that can be used or bought by many people. So I think with the future technology is the same, mainly because those technologies are based on data. So I truly believe that immersive technology, glasses, lens, whatever is the gadget, they have interest. The industry has interest. They are really interested on making these a massive technology. With that said, I think we are going to have the access from many people. Today, you can see that mobile phones or tablets are around inclusive in the, in the base level of the society. I'm not talking about the vulnerability areas, but you can see many poor areas which already have the technology. So they are coming, but they are not coming all together at the same time. And I think we need to work public and private to make this more and more inclusive.
Exactly. Especially as you said, technology is a mean, right? But what's the most important here is actually having access to the education to enable people to use it wisely, right? So, in one of your speeches, you mentioned about soft economy and hard economies. First of all, so what's the difference between those two types of economies, and how to expand the soft economy when you're being governed by such a hard economy?
I got the same questions in Portuguese, and this is a good one. It's hard to answer. Hard and soft economy is not a concept developed by voicers, but we definitely expanded the concept here in Brazil. This concept is from Amit Goswami. He's a quantum physicist. The book with the concept is called Consciousness Economy. With that said, I think he took the concept from quantum physics, where the material, the physical, the hard world is 0.001%. And this void, this invisible world, it's representing 99.99%. At the quantum level, the matter does not exist. It's irrelevant. That's why in the Matrix move, do you remember that scene with the spoon? And you ask, how can do that? The boy just replied, there's no spoon. That's the concept. So when he applied it to economy, it's the same. He said like the hard work, the physical work where we need to move people and things, it's expensive. Whatever you need to feed the body, move the bodies, heal the bodies, or, protect the bodies, this is the most expensive part of the economy. When you have like a digital economy, creative economy, you start to dematerialize the process that once was only made in the physical world. And when you do that in the digital world, you have a democracy of access. So in this perspective, what he says is, we believe in the first moment that the invisible is empty. I think today I don't need to talk more about the digital economy because we faced that in since the last year. But for many times we had a lot of resistance from people say, oh, is there something there for me? Can I do my work in the digital world? Can I do these kind of things? So I think the same concept exists in physicists, that we believe that the soft is empty and is not. In the economy world, this dematerialized world with these new economies give to us, many people also ask, is there something there for me? I think it's an empty space. I'm pretty much safe and comfortable in the real, in the physical world. And for many, many talks, I had to say that it's not one or another. It's one and the other. The digital, the new economies, which is like a digital economy and creative economy, the access economy, the platform economy, the shareable economy, all this new economy that we are experience, it's made of people who also have the characteristic. So I think by the moment you start to move yourself for this new way of selling, working, teaching, learning, you get in yourself the characteristic. A digital economy is made by a digital people, creative people, shareable people, and these kind of characteristics are inside the person. So every time you expand for a more invisible concept, you are making yourself a softer person. So here at Voicers, this is the expanded vision of the concept we made, is the group of this new technology, which is always enhanced or developed by new technology, but also new people. So the two together make the new economies stronger and growing, And those groups, those connections of new economy, new technology, and new people are the soft economy, which is always based on softer concepts, soft skills, softer people, and the capability of not only work in the physical world, which not means that it's the old world. There are a lot of innovation in the hard economy, mainly because hard is not only like something not flexible. Hard is also something that gives me a safe ground to work and to walk upon. So I think those are the concepts. And answer the second part of your question, again, all this new movement starting small groups. So all the big institutions and the governments are, I think, the biggest ones. Every time you see a big company, a big institution, a big organization, chances are they are ruled by hard economy. Because they are big, they are there for so long, there are a lot of policies and process. It's not easy to hacking all those processes, but they are being hacked, but it's slower. So every time that you are very insert in a soft concept or in a soft world economy and way of living, chances are that you look to those big organizations or government and you have that feeling that you are looking at the past. And this is common because you are steps away or steps forward from the original concept, which sometimes make us feel a little bit, hopeless. But I think as a researcher, I can see improvement in every part of the process. But some of them go faster, some of them go slower, but everybody's going to the futures, because in plural, you have many possibilities. But everybody's walking to their own future.
I love that. And, at the end, it just seems like it's going to be, as most of the movements happen, a big change in generations, right? So we did have a guest here, Richard Steele. He launched this book, Elevated Economics, which is a great one, got an award recently. He mentions this new generation that is soon going to have the power in their hands, which means that, they're going to be voting by their pockets, right? And that's how, at the end, the big corporations will have to end up following. And as a consequence, the government as well. And this is a generation that is not so concerned about owning. It's more towards sharing, the shared economy and experiences. Would this type of profile fit into the soft economy theory, right?
Definitely. I think this young generation, because it's all about experience and how much you are exposed to those new paradigms, And I think the young ones, they have a lot of this digital guts. So they consume a lot of information and knowledge and concepts. And I truly believe in those young ones who are coming. And I think we have 20 years till the moment we have all this technology matured. The teenagers, maybe the ones who are between 15 and 20, in 20 years are going to be the adults take decisions in many of the important chairs around. So I think with the social involvement, the humanity rights they advocate, and all this, I work with diversity because I born into it, is going to be brought. The whole bodies is going to be brought into this new generation. And I think we are going to have disruption just because they are going to get there. As much as we did, we are the millennials, The millennials today are around 40s, which pretty much are us. And they said, they are the generation that just complain and they are not engaged in the career corporations. And what happened with the millennials generation? They were not engaged because something inside of them, their experience, they are willing of doing new things, wanted to do softer things. So the millennial is the generation that started all the startup movements, all these new economy movements. How can you say that they are not engaged? They are hacking the world. So I think this teenager generation from nowadays are going to hack not only the economy, not only the technology, because this is going to be commodity. I think they're going to hack in the way we behave as society, as we lead people, Otherwise, they are not going to give their talents to the organizations. And as a researcher, I'm following those young ones, and I think they just need to be loved, because I think there is an emotional part that is very fragile because the digital and synthetic relationships they have. But we are the adults around them. I think those are our duties to help them with the emotional part. And when they get in their 40s, I think you're going to have way more ecosystems that only the startup ones.
That's great. That was just the perfect way to end our first episode. But stay tuned, everybody. We still have a lot to talk about. We are moving on to the second episode with Lígia Zotini.
Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.